Right, so this is my first podcast. I'm gonna talk a little bit that's gonna come with a warning about sexual abuse, and I know TikTok don't like to say these words or YouTube. This does come with a warning, so listener discretionary. So welcome to my first ever podcast of Nails, Males and Violence. Today's subject is the whole grooming gangs, which is still currently ongoing. I'm going to be speaking about two victims today. This is two victim stories. It's what I'm covering. There's going to be more out there. These gangs are still at large today. So I'm just going to be speaking today. I'm just going to tell you a couple of the names that I'm going to probably drop in the next 10 minutes of the story. Because I'm going to be quickly going through them, so you're going to need to know who these people are. So Operation Marksman was an operation that was nicknamed Marksman by the police, Humberside Police, who was trying to bring as much evidence to light to bring these perpetrators and these grooming gangs to justice. There's another operation called Operation Hydrant. Now they was founded in 2014. Now they basically is an operation set up by like the UK National Task Force just to help liaison better with sexual abuse victims, especially underage victims, and to liaison better with the families. Just to speak, and unfortunately they're having to be trained in this a little bit more than is necessary, but they have to, because this shit is real and it's happening. Jim Gamble, he is the head of child exploitation services. He works alongside the online protection services. David Marshall, who is at the time, I'm not sure if he is actually now, but he's the chief constable on this case in Humberside Police. So yeah, we're going to mention him in as well. So in the spring of 2019, there was two girls that had come forward claiming cases of grooming against them, sexual abuse, rape, and you can only imagine what the ordeal that they went through. So by the spring of 2019, their ordeals had been going on between 2016, 2017, probably 2018 as well. By the time they took this to Crown prosecution in 2019, there was 34 arrests, 200 digital images, and 100,000 text messages reviewed. And when they took that to court, the Crown prosecution decided there wasn't enough evidence, so there was no prosecution. I mean, geez Louise, what is going on? Like, come on, who is this Judge Joker who's decided that? So going by some of the research that I've done, these girls, I mean, a lot of them who are groomed are vulnerable. They come from, vulnerable households as well. So they're just vulnerable girls. The two girls that I've done my research on, I'm not sure the other one, but one of them seems like quite settled, comes from a good background. The school, she loves learning, and all that sort of stuff. So, when we kind of put these victims into a category of vulnerability, I'm not sure this is always the case. It's wrong place, wrong time. Now, these victims was getting picked up from school, was getting given alcohol. I mean, we've all been there, like 14, 15, like, oh, we're going to shop for us for a bottle of this, bottle of that. Now, I'm presuming that what they've done is that, and then these people who've gone into the shop for them and supplied them with the alcohol, they've ended up kind of in debt to them, because this is how grooming gangs work. Oh, well, now I've done that for you, you need to do this for me. Now, grooming kind of starts pretty quick with debts repaid of going into the shop. They also get brainwashed pretty quick, like, oh, come here, and they're coerced into doing stuff like, come to this flat and meet my friend, and, smoke weed and drink and all this lot. As you can imagine, we've all been 15. I'm just going to do a little timeline of how quick these sort of situations can spiral. So by the 6th of September, one of them had been hurt and assaulted. By the 15th, she was raped. By the 19th, she was sexually assaulted again. By the 25th of September, raped again. Now, this is just in 1 month, guys. By the 10th of October, she was sexually assaulted, hit, bitten, strangled, punched, tied up. I mean, this is fucking brutal. This is what a 13, 14 and 15-year-old girl is going through. And I was just speaking about one ordeal because that's kind of all the research I've done, because it's an open case still. There's not much, they're not giving much away, which I think's fucking appalling. Hull Daily Mail ain't even wrote an article on it. Well, they are, but it's been shit. Like, these journalists, what are they doing? What are they doing? This should be full media attention at all. We need to protect our children at all costs. Now, by the 15th of December, this girl, she was 2 to 3 weeks pregnant. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, at that age, at school, you should be living your best life at school right now, going out planning parties with your friends, you know, and this girl is trapped in this environment. Not only that, these groomers would probably turn up to her house and threaten her by just sitting outside the house and just park there. Do you know what I mean? She's supposed to be at home in her safe environment, and these abusers are sat in a car parked up outside a house. I mean, it's just disgusting. It's sickening. I mean, at 13, she was reported missing. This was around December time. For about 3 days, she was reported missing for. How is that not going to noticed? And why has the police not been following up? Like, where have you been? What, are you okay? Now, by age 13, this victim had been raped by 150 men. 150 men in a local takeaway shop in Hull. In Hull. This is on our streets. Like, what the fuck? Come on. And people who are turning a blind eye to it, shame on you. Now, this victim started resisting the gang a little bit. You know, she's trying her best to get out of it. But you've got to understand that these grooming gangs have such a grip of you. And because you've been through all this ordeal, you feel dirty, you feel ashamed, you feel like you've got nowhere to turn to. And all of a sudden, you know, these are your only friends. Because they're supplying with your alcohol, getting you some weed and so on and so on. Now, this one victim kind of started resisting the gang a little bit. So this is when threats started coming through to the family. Cars sat outside, threats made to the mum and dad. So there was the two main victims of today's story was actually interviewed by Sky News in 2021. They're now young women at this point and still waiting for justice. Now, this happened in 2016, 2017. Still no justice. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but I'm just absolutely shell-shocked that these two girls have been just forgot about, basically. So in 2021, Sky News interviewed the two girls, and they produced new evidence, revealing evidence of organised crime, abuse, and a new victim also had come into play at this point. By the time they'd got round to doing the interview, after examining diaries, school reports, photos of injuries and testimonies, Jim Gamble, who I spoke about earlier, he actually watched this interview. Jim Gamble actually watched this interview play out, and he actually contacted Humberside Police and said there is absolutely no reason why this did not go to court, and there was no justification. So there was a new operation called Operation Conference. I forgot to mention that earlier, actually, which is now the new name of the investigation in Hull of the child grooming gangs and organised crime. So this operation is now active again in 2022 with 500k funding to crack down on this. Now, David Marshall, the chief constable who was dealing with this case, I'm actually not sure if he still is now, but at the time, he's doing the usual, appealing for witnesses, this, that and the other, but I don't know, he's probably as upset as everybody else listening to this story that there was no outcome that ended up them either being deported or there was sent to prison. Now I'm just going to get into a little bit about the child grooming gangs now, because you've heard the victim's story, but you don't really know the gangs themselves. So without causing too much disruption in what I'm going to say, these grooming gangs are majority Pakistani men, Asian, Indian, Arabs, you get the thing. And these grooming men having, their victims are British girls. Now, we can't say, do you know, this is a racist crime? Because I'm telling you now, if it was British men putting in orders for Pakistani women and children, we would be deemed racist. All of it's disgusting anyway, but this cannot be reported on, and this cannot be an open shut case in them terms, because everyone's scared of being called a racist. But let's just put it exactly how it is. These Pakistani men, foreign men, illegal immigrants have come into our country and raped our children, our children, and that's what it is. They haven't raped their own. They haven't put in orders for brunette hair, brown eyes, Pakistanis. It's all being British children. So if that ain't a racial organised crime, then what the fuck is? Now these men are nomads as well. You'll have about 10 of them staying in one flat. They are nomads. Like, you give a description of them, they all like kind of look the same, and they're all hidden in the back of takeaways. They're nomads. They're absolute nomads. So trying to pin them down is absolutely impossible. And obviously the next a friend of a friend, they're going to protect him. Now I'm just gonna come up with a few questions here. Why didn't the police go and get more evidence? Now the court have said no, there's not enough evidence here. That's it for now. Why didn't the police go get more evidence? What the hell are they doing? And what are they still doing now? Why is this not a national inquiry? I mean, this isn't just happening where we are. This is happening over Rotherham, Leeds, Bradford, everywhere. Why has there been no deportation for the ones that have been found guilty in Rotherham? So they're allowed to just then walk free afterwards. Why have the girls not been the centre and the centre of our community? Why are they not being protected? Why we are protecting the perpetrators? Just don't get it. It's just such a backward system. It makes me so mad. Next question. I think we're going to all answer this. Is it a racist crime? Is this a racist, organised crime? When some of the girls was being raped and groomed, I mean, they was took to like these sordid hotels, like, you know, the cheap hotels. Why were the people who worked there, why have they turned a blind eye to it? Now that's who I meant earlier on when I was like, you people are just as guilty. It is not right for these 30, 40, 50-year-old men, Pakistani men, foreign men, taking British 13, 14, 15-year-olds up to hotel rooms. It's not fucking normal. So I'm just going to run a few facts with you here as well. We sent 133 million across to foreign aid in the last year. And we've set 10 million, that's only 10 million, set aside for local inquiries for grooming gangs, raping gangs. What the fuck? 133 million across to Pakistani aid, amongst other countries, and 10 million for our own poor babies in our country being groomed by disgusting old men. And since 2018, that's only 2018, there's been 458 rape reports, all being under the age of 15, some in primary school clothes. I mean, come on. Fucking should hang your head in shame, the police. Why are they not making this, like, abundantly clear that this is the most important shit that they've got to deal with? I don't give a shit about somebody nicking bacon and cheese from fucking heaven. These people who are doing this and destroying young girls' life before they've even started, these are the main characters of our society now that have somehow got protection. So in 2021, BBC had reported that one person had been convicted of sexual offences, drug supply and a child sexual exploitation, molestation, money laundering. So he's actually in prison He's actually in prison. That's one person that's been prosecuted out of the 34 people under investigation. So in September 2024, that was only a few months ago, these victims have complained that they've still not got no justice. They are walking around doing their local shopping, and these perpetrators who raped them have absolutely ruined their fucking lives, basically. They're just doing the normal shopping and they're bumping into him. I mean, come on, what the fuck? That's not right. It's not right for anybody. It's disgusting. And can you imagine that feeling? I mean, not ever feeling safe. Now, these are young ladies now. These are young ladies, not children anymore. And that's why I feel like, you know, they're kind of being forgotten about because they aren't now young women. But these were children. Oh, it makes me so mad. The police are now saying as well that since the riots in Hull, that the police officers that were dealing with the case have been kind of, you know, took off the cases to sort out some of the riots. But I mean, this because it's looting, and it's costing our government money, basically. So obviously, rape don't cost anybody money; it just costs people's lives. Greed. If you're from where we are, the funeral parlour in Hull took a lot of the police officers off the investigation as well. So that's took a main fact that these people haven't had any justification. I think it's bullshit. I think it's absolute bullshit. So I'm just going to end the story today on a bit of a sad note. Well, all of it's sad, isn't it? But I'm just going to read you a little paragraph out of one of the girls' school books. And it's a hard one. So today in science class, I learned every cell in our body is replaced every 7 years. How lovely it is to know that one day I will have a body that you never touched. It's a hard one, that, isn't it? So, yeah, it's pretty shit story. But I felt like today, this podcast I've done a lot of research on. It's my first podcast. It could have gone better. I feel like we can't ignore this shit. Like, I'm a mum. We can't ignore this shit anymore. Somebody needs to stand up for her. But this podcast took a story. This my first podcast has took a story. It's took its own story, really. It took a life of its own. I didn't actually want to do this today, but I had it all worked down. And I just thought, you know what, if I am ever going to do it or start it, I'm never going to do it. It wasn't the easiest thing that I've ever had to do and research. There is a lot of stuff that I left out purely because I'm just a bit nervous saying it. And that's it, really. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast, and I hope you can spread some knowledge about this podcast, and I can hope you all stay safe out there. Please educate your children. Also, if this video ever finds the victims, I would love for you to get in touch. I'll do you a little set of nails, a little pamper, while you tell me your version of events in a safe setting, and just know you'd be safe. But until then, peace out.